Today, I'm with John, who's a marketing coach, and he's going to teach us all about why content is king, but why video in particular. So over to you, John. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Happy to be here, Pete. I feel kind of passionate about this because back in the 90s, where we got involved with digital marketing, before it was really digital, content was always king. And I don't believe it's ever changed. Just the nature of it has changed. I've seen a real change in the last, especially 2 years, with how people are using social media. And so, I think this is really important for people to understand. So I just share my screen.
Sure.
I've got a few slides that interest your people, but why content is king, but why video? So in the past, you had people who have a product, a service, an app, a course. They might be a coach, a therapist, professional business owner, like an accountant, could be anything. And to reach those people, you'd have to figure out where they are. So before the internet came along, we had the print media, didn't we? Then the internet came along, and so things changed and business changed. And like in the good old days, actually before paid adverts, there was just email and SEO. You just put a website up and start promoting. But when social media started taking off, you could build organically a great following with content. And what I mean by content, it could be information. Content's also what's on your website. But email marketing was very easy in those days. When paid advertising came along, it was really good bang for your buck. Whatever you spent was way better than the old print media. SEO was a little easier too. But I remember I built organically YouTube, Twitter following, Facebook pages of similar things, just by organically posting good content out there. But so what's happened these days is that has changed. There's not much organic stuff that you can grow your business with and reach people. Now, this is one of the reasons why video is very important.
So are you saying, John, that it's still possible to build a social media presence and a following, but now you need to use video to do that, whereas before perhaps you could get away without having to go to those lengths?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the advent of AI, it's going to become even more important but I think people will be seeking content that they're familiar with. And there's obviously room for the AI-based content, but I think for business owners who want to put their face out there, it's going to be an opportunity outside of the AI realm. You can use AI to your advantage, but you can reach people better. So I think where it's changed now, we've gone from this social media engagement model to purely a media model now. We're not getting as much engagement because I believe TikTok is what changed the game. And now they're all following, but people are consuming their media on social media now. They're getting their news from social media. I saw somewhere where they're talking about the US election and how anyone who's watching the normal media, average age is 70 years old and above.
Right.
Anyone younger than 70 is getting their media. And so you've seen people, even Twitter now is providing people with media, not just tweets and stuff. What's become difficult for small to medium business owners is how do you compete just like in the old days when we had television and print media? How do you compete with a big company who's got a big advertising budget? It was more difficult. You'd be more local based in local papers and things like that, right? I personally think it's going this same way. There is still, I'm not saying social media and the engagement model is finished, but if we can understand the shift, we can then we can take advantage of it.
I guess to make video to compete with the bigger companies, bigger competitors, before platforms like Pictory came along, you'd need really big budgets. You'd probably need technical expertise. The barrier to entry to getting videos out there was so high that most people either couldn't afford it or just couldn't justify the cost of doing it. So
absolutely,
it was run by the big guys rather than the small to medium businesses that we talk to.
And so, and the challenge with video has always been, how do I sort of make it look professional and add all of the bits and pieces to it as well? And so what Canva did for graphic design, Pictory's done for video, I believe. So, someone can create something without even a design knowledge of video now with your platform, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I love it. But my particular passion, when I first came across Pictory, I was struggling to deliver to my small to medium clients strategy where that was cost effective, that they could develop media and get themselves out there, because it was just too hard. Like our team, I could do it, I could edit video, but it's just not cost effective for them to do it. Now Pictory has enabled people to change that. So yeah, I was going to show you how we go.
Yeah, show us the strategy. Show how your guys are doing that, because I'm sure everyone would love to hear that.
Yeah. So before I do that, it's important to understand. I know in marketing it can be a bit tiring listening to people talk about target markets and avatars, but it's important to understand where your people are hanging out. And so, you know, whether you've got your service or your app or your course, I believe most people these days are chilling out, watching these short form videos, right, and being entertained by whatever's going on there. And so this is where we need to be to sort of capture someone's attention. And so if you've got a decent solution you want to provide for someone, you want to, you know, in amongst all of the cat videos and people jumping off things, whatever else they're doing, right, you can actually get some attention there if you're delivering something that your avatar wants. I honestly believe, even with courses now, it's very rare that you find a course that you have to read stuff. Most people want it delivered to them in video or audio books. People don't have the time to sit and just read stuff, you know. So if you want to reach your avatar, you want to get their attention, you need to go where they aren't. That was just the other point behind video, why video is important, because they're not picking up a newspaper anymore. And so, yeah, how was my promotion for Pictory? But we've already introduced that. Here's a strategy that we would use for someone who likes doing sort of like a podcast type format, okay? And there's plenty of small, medium businesses that do this now. And, you know, I would encourage any business, no matter what they do, if they're an accountant, a lawyer, an investment advisor, to your traditional online marketers and the course creators, therapists, a podcast format just seems to be where people like to listen it nowadays.
That's effectively what we're doing now, John, isn't it? Really, you and I having a chat,
right,
sharing your expertise. After we've finished this, using the magic of Pictory, we'll do this very strategy that you're talking about. So it's kind of a real-time demonstration. And there's nothing difficult about this. We just fired up a Zoom session. You put a few slides together, and now we're making what I hope is valuable content that people will benefit from.
Yeah, and this is the thing for small to medium businesses as well, Pete. I mean, big businesses can use Pictory as well, but for small to medium business, they've got time to generate some content. But if you don't repurpose your content and reuse it, it's just you've got to do so much more work all the time. And what Pictory can enable you to do is I call it like a Joe Rogan type thing. Like, you know, if you're on TikTok, you'll see a snippet of Joe Rogan. You go into YouTube, you'll see a shorts. You'll see 3 to 5 minute videos, all leading them to his podcast. But small to medium business owners don't have a video team to be able to do this. But with Pictory, I mean, I have one client just to do a face to camera 4 to 6 minute blog post. By the time he got through the video editor and all of the stuff you need to do to get it out into the World Wide Web across the platform, he had a certain cost that it would cost him. He does this now with Pictory for the same cost as just doing a 5 minute blog post edit. So out of a podcast, we'll get 12 to 15 1 minute snippets. The reason I suggest 1 minute is you can put that across everywhere. I know TikTok has 10 minutes. Someone's just increased to 3 minutes. But with 1 minute, you can basically put it across Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. And so one piece of content across 4 platforms. That's where it becomes cost effective. And then out of the same podcast, and of course the 1 minute snippet, what it's going to do is promote the pod. So if you can get some engaging content there, you're going to get traffic to your podcast or blog, wherever that resides.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of those snippets, and being top of mind. And so if you think of your avatar, instead of just seeing maybe one post in a given week, they might see you 3 or 4 times. And then you're more top of mind. And if you're in a competitive market space, you look bigger. They think, wow, these guys know what they're talking about. I love their message. It gives you a chance to diversify your message, because in a podcast, you'll have a number of different cool snips that sort of highlight your authority or authenticity. And then I call it a 3 to 5 minute blog post, because what we do with one customer is we use the 3 to 5 minute Sometimes they go longer than 5 minutes. It just depends on the info. But we put them on YouTube as well, but embedded on the blog post, send it to the email list. And again, what it's doing is people are able to digest this 5-minute snippet and think, wow, I love what they're talking about. They'll go back and see the full podcast. And you're spending time with your client. Of course, it's all automated, but you're building that relationship.
But this is a little bit like a preview then, isn't it? If you're on Netflix and you're thinking about whether you want to watch a movie, you can see a little snippet of the movie. And if you like it, then you're going to go and watch the whole thing. I suppose this is a similar kind of strategy. It's like a teaser, like a trailer movie.
Yeah, it is a teaser. And also, you need touch points in social media. You are battling the craziness of the media at the moment. We're battling economic conditions, nuclear wars. But, depending on what you are offering people, like you can be kind of a bit of a refreshing soundbite in amongst that, where they think, I might check that out, And even if you're a product-based business, one of my clients who uses this strategy has a coaching and a product-based business. And so it works really well because we can do product-based snippets to get people's attention. Of course, with Pictory, you can create these snippets without a podcast either. Like you've got the text to video and the visuals to video. I mean, you can still create this sort of stuff if you don't have a podcast. The other strategy I have is when people are still doing their 5 to 10 minute blog posts, you can still strip 3 or 4 snippets out of it, even if you don't have a podcast strategy. If you're still doing some sort of video strategy, you can still repurpose your content to promote. If it's a blog, we'll do the same thing. We'll get someone to strip out maybe 3 or 4 video snippets that promote the blog like a teaser.
We do that as well. So just to clarify, the script to video, you don't need to have any video content. All you need is a script you can write yourself, or you can outsource, or you can get ChatGPT's help even if you want to. That then makes the script into a video with a voiceover and everything for you in a few minutes. Quite a lot of people that we see posting those on LinkedIn, like authority pieces, just sharing, tax advice or real estate advice. So little bits of expert art. And then on blog posts, if you look on the Pictory blog, many of the posts that we put up have a video embedded within them, which has been created using Pictory to summarize key points within that blog post. So uploaded to YouTube, and then we embed it. So if people, again, it's a little bit like the teaser, if they watch the video, then find it interesting, they can read all of the text on the blog itself. And of course, without getting too techie, you and I both know that this does wonders for SEO as well, because Google loves it when you put video.
Yes. And so you also got the chance to double dip, because you've got people who search on YouTube, but when you embed it on your blog post, you've got your Google search and your YouTube search as well. So just more places for people to find you. I've found that only free growth organic from social media is the Instagram and Facebook Reel and YouTube Short. I like TikTok, but I don't know if it's a very business-driven, clickable platform. But if your avatar is on there before bed entertaining themselves, you can still be, for no extra cost, it's still a piece of content. You can still be in their face as a reminder of what you can offer them.
Yeah, I think that the platform really depends upon your avatar, which we didn't actually mention what an avatar is, but in marketing terms, an avatar is a theoretical person who is your target market. So if you were selling, I don't know, I see a lot of people selling fitness advice, health supplement, dietary things, often at younger people who tend to hang out on TikTok. And don't be afraid to post too much. I know sometimes people think, well, I'm putting out far too much content, but not everybody will see all of that content, and not everybody is on the same platform. The same crowd that watches the videos you post into LinkedIn is going to be entirely different typically to someone that's watching it on TikTok. But the same messages reformatted in a different way can hit various markets.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I was told by someone, they know that they have to produce something like 106 articles to get one viral article. That's just a number. Doesn't matter how good, bad, whatever, they just know. And I've seen with this strategy, some client reels will get 4,000 reach and they don't even have that many likes on their Facebook page. When their average is 300 or 400 with the reels, and then it just bumps up to 4,000 because there's just one snippet that has, particular time of day and the topic, appeals at the moment of the time. And so that's where I think with that media juggernaut that's going on at the moment, the more stuff you can put out there, the more chance you've got of people grabbing it and seeing it. And there's no way that anyone's going to go, that you again, because there's just so many people posting. You almost have to post daily.
Yeah. So the key message, I think, is be prolific. And it doesn't have to be perfect either. I'm sure you've seen this, John, that lots of people won't put a video out because it's not perfect. I mean, I've been doing videos for more than 20 years. I've never done one that I'm happy with because I could always have done better the second time round. But the point is to put it out there, isn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. I think the one thing, I'm all about authentic marketing. So people actually respond to you if you're not perfect and polished either. They don't mind listening to someone. You know, if you're putting out content like advice of some sort, they would rather see a real person. That's more believable than the old toothpaste ads with the doctor, the old watching detergent ads with the scientist and that. And people don't believe that anymore. They'd rather speak to somebody on weight loss who's lost weight instead of someone who claims to know everything. You know, I think it's a real opportunity, but I think where Pictory is just gold. For me, someone who loves to help people get their message out, I hate when costs blow out of proportion because it's very hard to get your money back in this environment quickly. So Pictory enables you to just respin content, just edit your content. It's just a really easy platform for anybody to use. I'd say to anybody who's a small to medium business who is either afraid of video because of the technology side of things, like Pictory can solve that whole thing for you. You know, you could literally get an office person to learn it as long as they understood what you wanted to teach or what you want to put out there. But the editing, the compiling, and it's just such a brilliant platform. That's why I love it.
Yeah, and I think what we're trying to encourage people to do, or to realize rather, is that if you're already producing blog content, for instance, then adding video into the mix is no longer a big, complicated, expensive task. It's just another thing that you tack onto your business as usual. And yeah, you can get somebody within the company to do it. An intern even can easily do that. Or often it's just quicker to do it yourself. It's not that difficult. You don't need 10,000 hours of training, and you don't need to learn how to use something like Premiere Pro or Final Cut, which are brilliant programs, but that is daunting. But with Pictory, it's dead simple. But the business as usual aspect, if you build that in, that means that you will consistently produce content and therefore build up a canon of work that will attract the kind of people that you want. You know, we used to say in marketing, was it 7 to 9 touch points required to get somebody? This is the same concept with video. So in the old email days, you'd have to email someone 7 to 9 times before you'd get any response from them. With video, people need to see you everywhere consistently. And then they think, well, they obviously know what they're talking about. They've been around a while. I'll check them out. But again, that's what we're doing. We should maybe get some of the Pictory team on at some stage. That's what we're doing in Pictory, along with the Pictory team's account now. And we just consistently produce content every single day. And we will continue to do that.
I call it a sausage factory to my clients. I say, once you produce your content, send it to the sausage factory. And like, the business owner shouldn't spend any more time on it. If you're the only person in your business, it will save you time anyway. But with Pictory, you don't need a professional editor or anything. You can just create the process. And so, you know, some of my clients just have their VAs stripping out snippets and stuff, you know, because Pictory makes it so easy. The editing with text is so brilliant, you know. And then you've got the branding. So you can add branding at the beginning. You can add something at the end. It's just really quick and simple.
Well, John, I think this is great. So I don't want to make this into an oversell for Pictory. We're obviously both very keen on the product, but the strategy behind this, I think, is the real value that people will get out of it. To summarize, if you've got content, whether that's video content in the form of a podcast, it sounds very grand, but it could just be a Zoom recording like we're doing here. You can chop out short 1-minute snippets and slightly longer snippets and post those onto social media and on your blog. And even if you haven't got video content, then you can create video content from your written content and again post that all over the place. I would say the more the better.
Yeah.
John, before we close up, I want to thank you for your time. Do you have any sort of final words for the viewers?
If somebody's not using video at all, encourage them to start getting into video, because I think it's the way forward in business. If you want to grow your business, doesn't matter what you're doing online. If you're a sell product in a store online, but if you're therapist services based, anything, courses, I honestly, I'm not saying that because I love Pictory. I'm saying that Pictory came at a frustrating point for me when I thought, shivers, how am I going to get these clients to do more video when it's so costly? So, I believe other forms of media will slowly disappear unless something else comes along. But video is the best way to connect with your audience in the most authentic way.
John, thank you very much for your time. That's been brilliant.
Okay, take care, Pete.